have a big show for you. We are live from the studio by the Terry Gordy to my Michael Pietes, Mr. Michael Burhan. What's going on, Burhan?
Brandon, you've got something on your dick. I think it's a Mendez.
Oh, please.
Hey, that never gets old.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, this week Brandon was fired from the podcast, was suspended from the podcast for plowing Rosa with too much drink.
Oh no! What did I do? What did I do to this man?
Hey, at least you're not.
Anyway,
at least you're not Roman Boo Reigns.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk more about that. Believe me, we'll probably spend the entire show on that. Nick Horacek is on the line. Nick, what's going on?
Not much. Just enjoying my Friday.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah, it's not
That's also.
cold, so.
Yeah, please. It's actually probably warmer where you are as it is to where I am. Anyway.
Yep.
Also on the program, Mr. Dave Wade. Dave Wade, how's it going?
Not bad. All right. A little jealous that you got some snow, even though it wasn't what they planned, because we don't get any. Although we might get some this week. And I'm enjoying Samuel Adams. Yes, it's my beer. This is how I talk.
Jackson.
This is Samuel L. Jackson.
It's my beer, bitch.
Bitch. It'll have you fucking drinking what? Oh, never mind. I'm fucking up shit already. Anyway, we got a big show to talk about because. Yeah, exactly. I'm hosting this show like I'm already drunk, but no, I just woke up from a deep nap. But in case you missed it, it was the Royal Rumble this weekend, folks. And if it wasn't without controversy. We also got some news about WWE Network subscriptions. A whole lot of stuff. And Dave finally has a WWE Network, so congratulations to Dave. Right on time to get his WWE Network for free, by the way, too. Almost. Yeah. No, it's month of February, so don't sign up yet. Hold off, you get it free for a month. Congratulations.
I just had to get it because I was sick and tired of it being dangled in front of me like a carrot and taken away cruelly by Mistress.
Thinking about that for a second, in terms of the network, the WWE basically, apparently, it's been alleging that the WWE Network's 1 million subscriber mark is actually a fallacy. Because they're going by
They didn't specify. They didn't just have to specify what numbers. They didn't specify if it was active subscribers. They just said past 1 million subscribers. That means probably 1 million different people have subscribed to the WWE Network.
Yeah.
Now,
so we're not talking UK here. They're just dangling that out there and saying.
That talks worldwide.
Yeah.
1 million people worldwide. That's talking.
I have to say, you were
all
right.
Countries where it's available.
Now I finally got it working. I'm really impressed at the level of content.
The vast it's worth it for the vast the depth of the tape library alone. So
I agree.
I'd say NXT alone is worth it.
NXT is a big point.
I'm going to be the last one to cave.
Please, man. It's you will enjoy it though. I mean, I don't think you're so much as a protesting it now, so much as you're delaying your inevitable enjoyment. I think.
Your stance is temporary.
I'm protesting because it's, in terms of a company, I just don't like. I'm not going to fund something when they're mistreating their roster, in my opinion. And you know what? They're mistreating the fans at the moment. Think about this. Apparently, it's been alleged in the news, according to WrestleZone.com, who probably just ripped it from another site. Anyway, that according to most recent edition of Wrestling Observer Radio, yes, no matter how much the fans get behind Daniel Bryan, cheer for him at live events, make their voices heard via social media, WWE executives do not want to see Bryan as a main event player capable of being the face of the WWE, and will not cave in this year as they did last year for WrestleMania 30.
Can become that. Sure, sheer weight of numbers and support from the fan base. Even WWE have to basically go, oh well, there's something in this.
Well, as reported earlier, the current plan is for having Daniel Bryan to face Dolph Ziggler at WrestleMania 31. As of now, the match is being discussed as the pay-per-view's opening bout. Previous WrestleMania plans was Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus 3, as it appeared as if Bryan has never been discussed for the main event at Mania and will not be put in the bout despite what fans may want.
I mean, it is a damn shame.
Yeah, so that whole thing about...
Go on, Nick.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say that That whole thing when Vince was on Austin's podcast, he said, "Oh, I think we listen to our fans." Bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, I think their fans are craving for a new star, and I mean, I guess we're going to talk about it inevitably. I guess yes, Roman Reigns has won the Royal Rumble. Big spoiler alert right there. The fans are clamoring for a new star, and why wait an extra year or so to make Roman Reigns a star? Pull the trigger now if he's going to be a guy that you want to carry the torch for this country over the next 5 to 10 years. Then push him to the front now. I mean, Seth Rollins is already on the cusp of that point. I think Roman Reigns needs a little bit more work to be maybe onto the level where Seth Rollins is at overall. All he needs to really work on is his promos, really.
His promos are still god-awful.
Okay, I think you're being a bit hyperbolic. I mean, did you see the segment on Monday with Paul Heyman?
Yes, but that was
Heyman. He really wasn't saying much. Okay,
Heyman was doing the majority of the work. Heyman saved that, and Reigns. The reason why it worked so well is because Reigns kept it short and sweet, and that's what they've been doing to try and counteract all the bullshit. Problem is, he's still getting booed like the shit out by fans. If you're going to be the
I think that's just the fans being angry that Daniel Bryan didn't win, I want.
Well, the thing is, though, think about it this way. The difference between him and John Cena, you want to know what it is? John Cena became the face of the WWE organically. They then changed him from that,
I don't even think it was organically. I think it was like, this is the guy that we were going to go with, and then everybody, again, for the next 5 to 6 years, it was Cena wins the title, LOL, Cena wins, LOL, Cena wins, LOL.
No, but that was afterwards. When he started, he wasn't the face of the company. He wasn't going to be the face of the company.
No, he wasn't the face of the company. No, he worked his way to that point. But once they gave him the ball, they put the face of the full force of the company behind him.
Well, look at Steve Austin. Steve Austin was never a guy that should have been the face of the company, but he was. Well, until now, they've kind of deleted any entry of Austin in history of being the face of the company and just defaulted that to The Rock. In a sense.
Well, it was. I think they called that. No, it calls it for what it was. Steve Austin, after he had his neck injury, was wrestling on borrowed time, so he got whatever use that they could get out of him, and then after the Owen Hart Tombstone pile driver, he was done. So.
Well, the thing is,
I think Austin's legacy is.
When it comes to the company as a whole. Vince is getting it wrong, not the fact that he's choosing Reigns. He's getting it wrong because he's not allowing the fans to get behind Reigns. He's instead said, this is who we're going with, fuck you. That's not going to work for the company. And that's where the problem lies.
You're saying the man is completely out of touch then?
Well, completely. I think Vince McMahon has probably gone crazy. I don't think.
Well, it's all true genius is in some way crazy. So
yeah, but
is it just simply a case that when you've been in charge of an empire like this for so long, it's made so much money for so long that you essentially become headstrong and out of touch with your fan base drunk on power?
Well,
do as I say, not do as I do.
Austin said it himself in the Attitude Era, right? What made the Attitude Era so great is because it wasn't because it was like Smash Mouth TV. He listened to the fans. He listened to the wrestlers. There were the people who worked in the company were the ones who made the WWE what it was. And they've kind of forgoed that now and just went, fuck you, we know what we're doing. That's where the problem lies. It's like us doing Slamcast and then eventually Brandon just going, you know what, fuck the lot of you, I'm doing what I want. Even though this is a 4-man team. It doesn't...
Yep.
In terms of what makes the company work, you've got to look from the talent from the top, middle and bottom. If Vince says there's a proverbial brass ring, the reason why talent can't catch it is because the fact that he keeps... Every time someone even clinches onto it, he pulls it even further away.
He's the guy in the State Farm commercial pulling the dollar bill away from you, or what's it, Nationwide or whatever. Oh, almost got it. Oh, he's that guy.
Yeah, and
I agree with you there that he. No, I agree with you there that he does kind of like always seems to move the bar, or he doesn't really know what he wants or what like he really likes until it's like right in front of him, I guess. But I think to put like the to define the reason why Roman Reigns isn't ready is because of what the crowd in Philadelphia react after Daniel Bryan did not win the Royal Rumble really doesn't adequately compare it.
It's not just Philadelphia.
After Fastlane, the boos are still going on in every arena that we're going on, then they might have an actual problem with Roman Reigns. Is a viability as a main event. But I think, give this build a little bit more time because we're still, 50-something days out of WrestleMania already. I think the initial reaction of people wringing their hands was absolutely ridiculous. And I was almost, at the times, when I heard that fans had prevented wrestlers from leaving the arena by, like, barricading their cars and stuff like that, I was almost disappointed to be a wrestling fan.
That's disgraceful.
I really was.
Yeah, what the fuck?
It really was. It really was. And like, the cancel WWE Network hashtag and all that other stuff, it was really just like childish of the fan base. And it's almost like saying, and my good friend Joey Image, said it best. It's like, I didn't like the ending to Breaking Bad. I'm going to cancel my Netflix subscription. That's essentially.
It's subjective. The fans are allowed to do whatever the fuck they want. It's their money.
Right. They're allowed to do that, but to turn your back on a product that has a great service that you genuinely enjoy 99% of the time, just because this one time you didn't get what you want, it's petulant and a little childish. Well, a little bit childish.
Well, not just as childish as WWE, what they did as a result of the CM Punk and Alberto Del Rio situation. Penalizing.
That's unprofessional. That's unprofessional. There's
right?
difference.
No, but it's tit for tat. If you want to basically stand by your product and say, no, we're professional, we're a great company, and be a star, then you've got to practice what you preach. In the end, who is the most over guy in the WWE at the moment? Daniel Bryan. The guy has been away for God knows how long, and he still gets one of the biggest pops in the company.
Well, I think if Roman Reigns didn't suffer the injury and he had that 3 months of TV time to continuously build on his momentum after SummerSlam, he would be right up there. I think.
In my opinion,
and I think a lot of those people that were complaining about Roman Reigns winning the Royal Rumble are the exact same people that were complaining that Batista won it last year.
The way I see it, right? They, as a company, have a right to do whatever the fuck they want. But if it causes reduced ticket sales and the guy that you're basically getting behind being booed by the fans, there's a problem. Reigns could have easily resolved this problem by having Daniel Bryan as part of the Final Four and have Reigns win that way. They didn't have to go in the direction that they did.
Yeah, I think that was the real lack of foresight. Yeah, that was
that even though they're a big multi-conglomerate business and they make loads and loads of money, so they obviously think they know what they're doing and they obviously do something right, and then the fans have a right to have an input level because as Burhan said, they pay their money, they pay their ticket price. I think they both don't seem to appreciate the fact that it's basically a symbiotic relationship and you're in it together. That will never change, I know, but if just I don't know, if they just listen to each other, not just they listen to the fans or the fans got more input, but if they listen to each other and it would be such a better
The
franchise.
problem is if they don't resolve this Reigns issue soon, WrestleMania is going to be really bad because the fans are going to shit all over your main event. And, Philadelphia was just the peak of the iceberg because the problem is, these are smart fans. They usually use New York and Philadelphia to basically measure the fact if someone's going to be over or not. And if they're not over, even a blind mouse with no vision and retardedness out of the wazoo can see that Reigns is not over. And the problem is, it's not organic. It's forced. It's when they forced that Slammy win on him, right? There was a load of different people who could have won that Slammy. Reigns won it. A guy who basically didn't complete for a good portion of 2014.
He missed from August to September, so he missed
August to December. So three
August
and a half
to December.
Months.
3.5 months. He missed a quarter of the year. So 3/4 of the year he was there.
To the fans whatsoever, which is another problem. He can't connect, right? Because one, his promos are bad, and two, it's one of those things where you just look at it and think, okay, he's not even Bill Goldberg levels of over, and Goldberg, with his limited skill set and the fact that he couldn't cut a proper promo, still got over.
But they used
because all you need with Goldberg was to come in, kick ass, leave.
Yeah, and
that's all you needed with Goldberg.
And that's
they're sort of building the same. Go on, Dave.
Oh, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. No, I know.
No, go on.
They got deaf ears and they think they know what's best. But if you say, Burhan, that they use Philadelphia to kind of fill the waves and fill the market, surely they must pay attention to this and aren't going to carry on with this route, because even they wouldn't be that naive.
The problem was,
and risk ruining WrestleMania.
The pay-per-view got a good response overall, right? The title match for the WWE Championship was amazing. Right?
Yeah, we'll talk about that. I think we got to devote an entire segment to that.
Yeah, the entire pay-per-view was moderate, really good. It had good pacing, and then when the Rumble happened, it soured the entire pay-per-view. It soured it because of what they did. They didn't only push Roman Reigns in front of people, well, basically in front of the bus is what they've done.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, surely, if this is like you said, the feeler for it, that even they must look at this and just go, well, because of that one event, possibly we shouldn't carry on with this route.
They knew what was going to happen. Why do you think they brought The Rock in to basically come out at the end? They knew that the Reigns was going to get booed, so they got The Rock to come out and.
But I think no, I don't think they think he was going to get booed. I think The Rock was there to give Roman the rub to okay, that this is the moment, that this is the genesis of Roman Reigns, to use a Curtis Axel Michael McGillicuddy joke. But I think one thing I think we can all agree on, what absolutely killed the crowd was not the Royal Rumble, but was Daniel Bryan being eliminated. Because Daniel Bryan being eliminated in the position that he did was kind of showing the fans that we're definitely not going with Daniel Bryan again this year. That was a one-time thing, that he was able to be that guy from SummerSlam, from that whole build program from SummerSlam to WrestleMania was done and complete. That once he got injured, they weren't going to revisit that, which is very rare for a champion who doesn't lose the title, who drops the title via injury, to not get that chance at the belt again. That's what I was most surprised about with.
The thing is, they could have even given Bryan a chance at Fastlane to go.
Exactly. No, they could have saved themselves getting the amount of boos by just keeping Daniel Bryan in that match towards the end. I mean, I think
don't even announce him returning. Don't even announce him coming back. Don't even make it a special surprise at the Rumble, right? That would have been fine. But they did that well-built promo. They allowed him. He reconnected with the fans. The fans got 100% behind him, and then they just killed it.
Yep.
They just took it up. They wheeled it away from me. They're like, oh, we got it. You almost had it. Oh. Come on, gotta keep watching. Maybe we're gonna give it for you.
You know what the worst thing about it was? The Rock looked so uncomfortable.
I think The Rock didn't think I think The Rock thought he was just gonna be able to, rockify everything, come out there, and people were gonna pop huge as soon as they heard that music. And there were people that popped. Believe me, if I was there, I would have popped for that. That would have got me to made me forget that Daniel Bryan got eliminated, at least temporarily. I wouldn't have been booing, chanting, "We want Rusev." That's Philadelphia. See, I don't think a New York crowd would have chanted, "We want Rusev." I mean, maybe there'd be 25% of the crowd, but there would not be as vocal of a crowd chanting "We want Rusev" if it wasn't for Philadelphia.
Do you know what? The way I see it is, if they basically like gave him the push organically, gave him a mid-card push, pushed him little by little, helped him adapt, gave him some good talent to work off of and bounce off of, he would have been fine. What they've done at the moment is Vince McMahon's like, I don't give a fuck if he's not ready.
They've made him, but they made him in the worst possible way because they've made him at upsetting the fans by they made him at the expense of killing off Daniel Bryan's momentum with the fans, I guess you could say.
But they didn't even kill his momentum. But what they did was they thought they could kill his momentum. They then ended up basically doing the opposite and killing any momentum Reigns has. Because this is, Paul Heyman's trying to save the guy.
Well, that Heyman segment was, put it that way. Reigns versus Lesnar is going to be a great match, and I'll say this right now.
Yeah, I don't think it will.
As long as I think it will be. I think Lesnar
versus Goldberg.
I think it's going to be better than Lesnar versus Goldberg, which it really isn't saying much, but I think it will be much better than Lesnar versus Goldberg.
And you don't even know if Reigns is going to basically, if he's going to be ready by the time Mania hits, And
I think he's going to be in the ring wise. He's going to be ready. I don't know if the build is going to be is going to be an interesting part. It's going to be the next 50 something days until WrestleMania. That's going to be the real interesting part.
I just hope the WWE knows what they're doing with this because
I think they got a good idea, and like I said, man, I think
they need needed to
make another superstar, like another top guy, elevate that guy, and now, is the official making of Roman Reigns, and they did it in the worst possible way. I mean, it ended up having the worst possible conclusion, backlash to it, but it was something that had to happen inevitably. But they had to do it. They had to do it. So why wait another year for Roman Reigns, and then maybe Roman Reigns doesn't,
because another year would get him over. Another year, if you gave him a.
You think so? What if another year doesn't get him over, and then you've spent this time developing this guy?
Over. When the Rock was being booed, fucking shit, and people say "Die Rocky die," he got over.
Yeah, but okay. But what if he gets hurt again or something like that, and then he doesn't have a career after that?
Then you protect him in his matches. You don't. If he gets hurt again, then obviously the guy doesn't deserve to be in the bloody ring. You can't protect him. You can't protect him all the time. That's what I'm saying. And when you have a guy who you think that you could be ready now, you have to pull the trigger on him. I agree with Nick what we said before. As soon as Daniel Bryan got eliminated, you pretty much knew it was Roman Reigns. There was nobody else really that could have won that Royal Rumble at that point in time. You're like, it's Roman Reigns gonna win it. And then Roman Reigns came out at 19, and he's like, that's the spot.
Yep. They're making it blatantly obvious they're turning him into the next Cena. Because Cena did the same thing. He won it in 19 2 years ago.
No, but the thing is, Cena, again, I disagree. Because Cena, when he was pushed, he got pushed by the fact that he managed to basically win the United States Championship. When he won the United States Championship,
he was a novelty because he was the new guy on the scene. We're like, what's this guy, this white guy doing the rapper gimmick? It was something new. Let's see what's happening. And then it started to snowball from there. And then he beat the Big Show, and the rest was history, as they say.
Yeah, but as I said, he connected organically with the fans, and then apparently he was on his way out by the time that happened. So, in the end, Cena worked that way. He went from being a heel to a face, which has never happened again. We'll never see
You know what helped him get from a heel to face, and it's the same thing that Roman Reigns has:
fans.
The appeal of women. The appeal of women fans.
It wasn't just the appeal of women fans; it was the fans themselves that turned it.
Yes.
And that's the thing. And Reigns, he doesn't even have that factor. The two members of the Shield that are more over than Reigns are Rollins as a heel and Ambrose as a face. Ambrose, when the guy that's being shoved into the mid card at the moment, with no hope of coming out of it, is more over than you are. Then you've got to really rethink and reevaluate.
I think we could officially call Dean Creative has nothing for you, Ambrose.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a shame because, you know,
I mean, it would have been a great Royal Rumble moment, I mean, at least personally for me, to see Ambrose, Rollins, Bray Wyatt, Daniel Bryan, and then I guess you could throw Kane and Big Show in there as like the final 6 guys.
Yeah, it should have. And the bullshit with Kane and Big Show.
That's your final.
That's
your final 6 guys. That's your final 6 guys. I mean, wasn't Big E? For some reason, Big E Langston was in the final. Was in like.
Yeah, I don't get why they had so many mid cards in the final. That made no sense.
And it really did. It really did. That's really what made no sense. Like. That's like the Royal Rumble is supposed to be your all-star game. It's when you want to have your all-star talent out there. Rusev, you keep Rusev in there. Like that should have been your last.
Yeah, you throw Bryan, who should have been the final 4, out. Seriously, and you have Titus O'Neil in the final 4.
Horror.
A guy who's been floundering in the lower card.
I wanted to take a piss. I missed Titus enter and leave, so that's what that says about that.
Yeah, put it this. Yeah, that was basically Titus O'Neil's Royal Rumble appearance. He was a Warlord-esque.
Yep, in, out. I'm back from taking Whoa, someone didn't last.
I
didn't even know he was going to be in that.
I could do Barks longer than Titus O'Neil's Royal Rumble appearance. But, I mean, Roman Reigns' Royal Rumble victory and Daniel Bryan's Royal Rumble elimination really overshadowed what was a pretty good Royal Rumble for the most part. We got the return of Bubba Ray Dudley to an enormous pop in Philadelphia.
Yep.
We got to see a little.
DDP came out. He was dropping guys. DDP came out. He was dropping guys with diamond cutters. I don't see why they didn't try and get Devon out there either.
Well, yeah. He had R-Truth, black guy. Yeah, close enough.
But I'll say to Brandon, I've never been so like hyped for something and also just feel ashamed because it just looked really racist at the same time.
It was. I was just like, oh, it's so cool. It's like, yeah, I know, but this is racist because it's not the same guy. It's just a black guy.
Yeah, it's like they all look. It's just him going. They all look alike. You know what I mean?
True. Where the hell is Devon?
It would have been funny if he like had another fake pair of glasses in his pants, and he just gave it to him, and then I just wanted dances with Dudley.
I guess Randy Orton was also there backstage, ready to go, but they didn't use him. They could have thrown him out at 15 as DDP was dropping guys with diamond cutters.
He was probably shitting in people's handbags.
No, he probably forgot. Yeah. Like I said, he probably forgot when he was supposed to came out, and then
he had to just Rusev, get the hell out there.
Yeah, or no, it was the Zack Ryder go. That was the weird thing. We proved that Zack Ryder still has some juice in him, even though it was an East Coast crowd. I wouldn't really take it as indicative of anything. Don't get your hopes up, Zach, just yet of a future push again.
He won. He won the Rumble, and his WrestleMania matches with catering. That's Zach's WrestleMania match. It's going to be with catering.
Yep.
He was your Royal Rumble comeback player of the year, I guess you could say.
Probably not, because I wouldn't say it, but still.
He was the only guy that was coming back from an active guy that was coming back from an injury. So, I mean, who is the bigger surprise though? The Boogeyman, DDP, or Bubba Ray Dudley? Because Bubba Ray Dudley was
Boogeyman.
Yeah, I mean, it was the weirder thing. It was certainly the weirder surprise, but I think DDP was the bigger surprise, even though it had been mentioned before.
I think Bubba was the big surprise.
But was it a big surprise because he was, rumored to be in there anyway?
Yeah, those rumors have been out there, and I'm like, I'll believe it when that music hits. And of course,
and that music hit, Nick.
And that was the pop. I was like,
place-
that's my highlight.
Yeah, no, that was my highlight for sure, man, for sure.
Yeah, go on. You know you want to say it.
What?
I'm a
Wanna say
Dudley.
what? I'm a Dudley. You're a Dudley. Wouldn't you like to be a Dudley too?
There you go.
Oh man.
Big Dick Dudley.
I love the
for
face-off
life.
between Bray Wyatt and the Boogeyman, because that was like
Battle of the
one
Weird,
really
man.
whacked out. Yeah, it's like two of the weirdest characters in the last 10 years, and just crazy.
But I will
like,
think what this Royal Rumble showed is that Bray Wyatt is on that level of guys that are like you could call it on deck. Guys that are just ready to be made. Like everything's there. They're just looking for the one thing to make him. And I think it's coming this WrestleMania because if the rumors are correct, Bray Wyatt will be the opponent for The Undertaker if The Undertaker wants to come back and wrestle. I mean, we saw the groundwork being laid for that with the promo that Wyatt cut on the live version of SmackDown yesterday. I think Bray Wyatt is ready to be elevated to that main event level. And, it's about time. They're going to have to make new superstars, and Bray Wyatt is going to have to be at some point in time, will
Any
be
money they feed him to Roman Reigns.
Oh, but you know what, though? I think he's a good foil for Reigns because, he pulls the supernatural.
I just really hope they don't feed him, though.
I think Rollins, if anyone, if Reigns is going to be the guy, if Reigns is going to be the Cena for the next 10 years, and then, Ambrose is going to be his number 2, and then I guess he could insert whatever guy from NXT to be his number 3 heel. If anyone's going to be the edge to Ambrose's Cena or to Reigns' Cena, it's going to be Seth Rollins. But there's going to have to be that second guy, and that second guy is going to have to be Bray Wyatt.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, at the moment, I'm not looking forward to the future of the WWE.
Hey, man, you know what? It's the future has to happen inevitably, and
yeah, but I would rather that it's a future that you actually nurtured, rather than your kid that you're trying to get into a good fucking school, because you're wealthy. Vince, I think this has proven more than anything that Vince needs to go. Vince needs to let someone else get in charge and someone else.
But he won't, will he? He's like, he's a stain that you just can't wash away.
Luis Figo for FIFA president.
I think, you know what? In my opinion, why don't you just let Triple H run it? The guy's done such a great job with NXT. Let him run the company.
Yeah. Yeah, Vince.
I mean, that's gonna be happening
spend some more time
inevitably.
with your grandkids.
That's going to be happening
Or
inevitably.
think about your genetic jackhammer.
Sorry, Nick, say that again, because I think that deserves a hashtag. Hashtag, yeah, Vince, just go home.
No, spend more time with your grandkids.
Vince, just go home, spend some more time with your grandkid.
and think about having your daughter having your son. Because apparently that's the storyline you pitched to Steph.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was on the I heard about that on the McMahon DVD. Vince wanted him to be the father of Stephanie's baby, and then he threw Shane out there, and
Triple H stood there looking awkward.
I know they want to do it as a storyline, and they want impact and stuff like that, but that's just fucking disgusting.
That's Vince for you.
Well, I mean, look, this is the same people that had another man hump a dead body in a casket,
and also had Mae Young giving birth
which
to a
still
hand.
wasn't as bad as Kathy Lee and Hoda on Raw back in October. Think about that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Do
we want to talk about
So what we can basically take from this segment is Vince is an idiot.
Not
There you
an
go.
idiot.
You want to talk about?
I think he's out
Well,
of touch.
look,
He's lived himself in a
I
bubble.
think
And
I
Vince
think we
wants
should
what Vince
wait
wants.
to reserve judgment until the end of this Royal Rumble season. Like, all right, you can guys have your skepticism, but if you're really true fans, you'll fucking wait it out.
Yep.
Like, I
Which is what I'm
criticized. I criticized our friend Mr. Sean Walker of that other podcast because he literally quit the podcast on air as a result of Roman Reigns winning the Royal Rumble. I'm like, all right, dude. I can understand if you're just genuinely not enjoying it, that's fine. But if you're a true fan, even if you don't enjoy it, you stick it out.
That's commitment to a beef, though. I'll give him that. That's commitment to a beef right there.
I've been a fan
Sean
of the WWE since WrestleMania 7.
Yes.
That's when I got hooked. I stuck with the company with some very poor decisions. And Vince Russo did allude to this fact as well on one of his recent articles, that the reason why Shawn didn't get over when he was the babyface champion was because everything was being written for him. He only got over when he shunned convention and became the kind of tweener of the company and got over with DX. And
Absolutely.
And being
Absolutely.
very anti-establishment.
And if you were a fan through those dark days in '95, and you are even nostalgic for that, believe me, this will be nothing. You could make it through this.
Dude, I left the company when Daniel Bryan was getting destroyed, and Punk walked out.
But
I was gone.
do you understand that was just to all make Daniel Bryan? Like that was in a Bleacher Report article that was on purpose, that they had that plan from SummerSlam to make Daniel Bryan the next. It was the long-term play. It was SummerSlam to WrestleMania and beyond. Then he gets injured.
Yeah, and then he was going to drop the championship to Lesnar. He was going to be the guy that dropped it to Lesnar.
He was going to be the guy that was going to get suplexed 16 times.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that? Could you imagine Lesnar suplexing Daniel Bryan? I mean, he could literally probably throw him. I could imagine, how many times could Lesnar suplex Daniel Bryan, and then how many times could Daniel Bryan flip out of the counter, or flip out to counter? That would be amazing to watch. That's what I'm really upset about. That I really didn't. I think almost we didn't get to see what would have been an absolute classic. I think.
You know what they could have done? They could have just had Bryan and Reigns as the final two, and then both eliminated each other.
Yes, that would have been absolutely great too. But I mean, how do you make that look feasible when you got a guy who's 6'6" and a guy who's barely 6 feet tall?
Then what you do? I think Bryan could have done it.
Luger and Bret Hart were the same size. Batista and John Cena were, similar build.
They could do it.
It would have to be.
Even though I think I remember hearing that wasn't planned, that 2005 Rumble ending, and then Vince came out, blew both his quads.
They could have done it, they chose not to. That's all I'm saying. There are a number of ways around this. They chose to do it. Vince chose to do it his way. And the problem is, I think Bryan, if he was inserted into the main event with Reigns and Lesnar, and Reigns wins the championship, Bryan would make him. That's my opinion.
I think it could be something too. If they're gonna do, I'm not saying that it's gonna be a terrible match, but if the build is good, I think we could be in for something that might be better potentially than Bryan winning the title if
the fans aren't gonna get
we get a good build. If we get a good build out of Bryan and Dolph Ziggler.
You know what?
As two guys trying to compete for that, number one contendership spot, maybe. I think that's the one thing that WWE is really truly lacking now, and I think even TNA has it now. There's no real ranking system to it's the number one contender is kind of like an arbitrary thing that changes from month to month. Or 2 to 3 month period between 2 to 3 month period. There's no definitive ranking system a visible pecking order for the fans to see this guy's gonna move up to I think that's really what they should have. They should have a WWE contenders list, and then there you go. Bray Wyatt, they're gonna just name four guys that are in the title picture. I don't know. This is just me expunging on various ideas.
Well, in the end, there was a way that they could have done this. Instead, they're going in this direction, so we have to like it or lump it. And
we got all we
say,
gotta do is just sit and watch, man. That's all we can really do.
I will say that every fan that cancelled their subscription has a right to. They have a right, a valid right. It's not childish, dude. They had a right.
But it's you have a right to, but then to like bandy about it and then to try and turn it into a movement, like, come on, like you can just do it and just you don't have to get on a soapbox about it.
So everyone can do that. Why can't they do that? Why can't they
I'm saying this from my soapbox platform.
Yeah, there's irony.
You know what I'm saying? The irony involved with that. You know,
everyone has a right to do it, but at the same time, I agree with you, Burhan, but I also agree with you, Liggan, which is, everyone has a right to do it, but also people should sit through the entire process.
It's reactionary. It's reactionary.
Yeah.
It
See
is
where
the most
it goes
reactionary
before
thing you can
you
do.
vote with your wallet.
It's like, it's literally like getting to the end of a show you don't like and canceling Netflix. It's literally like it is. Despite the fact that Netflix...
the thing is, right, it's also the part of... I love Dexter, one of my favourite TV shows.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't cancel Showtime after...
No, but I hated the shitty ending.
So did I.
It has ruined the entire show for me now, because I can't watch it again.
See, it should say ruined. I just said, man, I wish it had a better ending.
I just don't watch it.
I don't. It doesn't ruin. It doesn't ruin the times that I had watching the show. Like maybe I won't go back and watch.
Again? Will you pick it up and watch it again?
I'll watch it from the beginning, but maybe I won't come to the end. Maybe I'll stop watching after his wife dies. Spoiler alert. Is it really a spoiler? I mean, for people who hasn't watched the show. Maybe I'll stop watching when John Lithgow, I'll know. I'll just stop watching. I think John Lithgow. Wait, sorry.
You got a good point there, which is like with the wrestling side, people should sit through the entire process to see before they throw their toys out their pram. But like with box sets, there's so many stuff I like that I have a specific bug up my ass about, and I do what you do, Brandon, which is, I'll just watch it up to this point and pretend the rest didn't happen and have a happy memory of it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not gonna watch the finale of Dexter ever again because it's gonna annoy me.
That moment was the final episode of Quantum.
Or I'm just saying, maybe I won't even watch the last season. I'll just end it like that. Because the way, I mean, that's totally a total Dexter sidebar. The way each season of that ended, kind of just ended up its own storyline, really. And had no thread really connected to each one except for when he killed his wife.
I just what?
Anyway,
as I said, it's for me. I don't see it.
Hey man, I just think it's reactionary. I just think people that do it, especially after one of the best matches of the year. I mean, how can you cancel? You just watched one of the best matches of the year. Yeah, you did. Yeah. Maybe the vast majority of people who watched the match, their guy didn't win. But I mean, are we really just gonna forget?
Well, yeah, Christ alive, we all walked away from our favorite sports team because they didn't win the final.
Exactly. I would have quit being a Manchester United fan after last season. It would have just.
I did. I quit being a Man United fan long ago. I quit being a football fan after just watching all the fucking shit that went down. It's in the end, it's subjective. Taste is subjective. If you don't like it, do something about it, and that's what these people.
But it does make me wonder though, how many of these people who took that big hissy fit stance and threw their toys out of their pram are people who enjoy other sports and just get upset when their team loses a final and come back next year.
Everyone has a right to be passionate. And everyone has a right.
Oh no, I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying if you draw the parallel, with sports, which is would they do that to their local, sports team? Probably not.
I would. If something's not going right, you have the right to basically hit it where it hurts. It's like what we said on the Untitled Movie Show. If you don't like a movie, don't go and watch it.
I mean, there's varying degrees, though.
You don't stop listening to a band because of their awkward third album, do you? You just think, they'll get better.
The great thing about that is you could skip the awkward third album. The problem
then-
is the product Reigns is still going to be there. He's going to be a constant reminder of what the WWE did to its fans. Thus,
I
the
just
problem.
I think you're giving up on the kid too soon. That's all I'm
I'm
saying.
not giving
Just
up
because
on Reigns. I think Reigns is more than capable for carrying the company. Not yet.
I think he's capable not carrying the company. He's more than capable of carrying the strap for a little bit of time. I mean,
You know what? I'm calling
there.
it now.
Seth Rollins.
If they
Rollins
basically
is the guy.
if they
that's gonna
basically
carry
have
your
Reigns
company.
go over on Lesnar at Mania, I'm calling it that Seth Rollins cashes in, wins the championship,
Oh.
and saves
That's what I'm
everyone.
hoping.
Yes. I think that's what everybody wants at that point in time because I think that would both elicit a positive crowd reaction, and it's going to set up your storyline probably for the next 3-6 months, next 5
Yep.
years probably. Because, again, that rivalry between those three guys, you got a potential rivalry between Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns. You could even throw Luke Harper in there. Could be a viable rival for Roman Reigns. Who else? I mean, you could throw Mark Henry's going to have to come in there and put Roman Reigns over. World's Strongest Man. Why not?
Yep.
Like, there's so much for possibilities. Because again, you just gotta basically, if you switch out John Cena, a John Cena Roman Reigns, there you go, the ultimate passing of the torch match. And that's what this really feels like to me. This feels like they're setting up a crowning of a new guy, just like, regardless of what happens to Daniel Bryan from this point on. Daniel Bryan's an upper mid card, no less than that. Like he's not leaving that top 4, top 5
The
guy.
thing is, he could be the face of your company, but you've got to allow him to be. And the thing is,
I think he's a face of your company. I don't think ever he's going to be the franchise player. Like there's superstars, and then there's franchise player. Like there's Derek Jeter. There's only one Derek Jeter. That's what I'm saying. So there's only one guy who's your locker room captain. There's only one guy who's gonna do the bulk of your media appearances, the bulk of your public relations stuff.
Okay, well,
Everybody else just fights for the scraps.
shall we move on to the next big thing?
Let's move. That's what I was gonna say. We're gonna talk about this. Seth Rollins is as a guy who is as ready as there ever was possible, and if you are not convinced by that watching that triple threat match, I contend you to go over and watch that match again, because one of the best matches I've seen of all time. Absolutely. One of the best matches I've seen of the last 5 years. Absolutely. One of the matches I've seen after the last 10 years. Sure, why not? One of the best triple threat matches you'll ever likely to see.
Yeah.
Everything about that. Just the story that those three guys told, that fucking off the top rope by Seth Rollins. I mean, Seth Rollins has arrived in the main event structure. That two guys were made that night. Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. Any Seth Rollins doubters should just shut up right now.
I agree with that one.
Never has a guy lost a match and come out looking better than the two guys.
He looked real strong.
He looked Roman Reigns strong
Real strong.
in that match.
Yep.
For real, kid. For real.
For realsies.
Yeah. I mean, I almost wanted Cena to take the pin and then to set it up for him, but what's going to be next for Seth Rollins? That's really going to be next, because he's basically waiting for Roman Reigns. We know that's coming, but that's a little bit farther down the pipe.
Company that basically is a saving grace to the WWE right now. That is Seth Rollins.
It's Seth Rollins promos. It's Seth Rollins ring work. I mean,
he's the total package. He's got everything.
He's again that's a guy who, if he was
Yeah, the monkeys.
The monkeys that produce our show.
The monkeys that
We
produce the
didn't feed
show
them in
kind of
time.
killed themselves. So we're talking about Seth Rollins with the guy.
Seth Rollins. Yes, Seth Rollins is the guy. I mean, if you weren't convinced of it after that pay-per-view match, again, I say watch it over again because you're a fool not to believe that. They set up, you know, the two guys that are going to be a big part of the next 5 years of WWE programming, I think. So, you know,
but the answer to that is simple. Coming back to our prior statement or prior section, which is they do need to start, you know, looking towards the future and bringing out their new people, or their new contenders, their new challengers, their new, you know, champions, because they can't keep going with what they've got. Because half them all
the new
away,
generation, if you will, Dave. The new generation.
The short.
And you got guy who's a little bit of Shawn Michaels and a little bit of Bret Hart in, well, a little more Shawn Michaels than Bret Hart.
And Seth Rollins.
Let's for a very, very nice, you know, thing. I do think
No, I agree. In terms of Rollins' work rate, it's second to none. In terms of everything they've done so far, it's been second to none. But the whole thing is, as a direction that the company's going in, they need to look at basically how they keep doing this from here. How they continue this.
Yeah, it's how they keep, you know, basically how they keep Seth Rollins from injuring himself. Because I think if anybody, you know, if anything has shown is the people that work that, you know, high risk kind of style that, you know, I mean, obviously Seth Rollins is not going to be jumping off of balconies of arenas anytime soon. Maybe until he gets that world title, maybe not even after that. But they protecting Seth Rollins and at the same time making him look as strong as possible before he gets fit. It's to face Roman Reigns. One person who I don't think came out of Royal Rumble looking good, besides Roman Reigns' public opinion rating, Rusev. Rusev had a pretty good Royal Rumble, and normally the guy who's the, you know, last man eliminated in the Royal Rumble usually gets a pretty strong push after that. But it appears that they're feeding Rusev to John Cena, and that was the one thing we did not want to see. Who people wanted to see a strong Rusev. Feeding him to John Cena does not, and on the surface bode well. And stepped on my microphone. Oh no!
So going on from that.
Yeah. Anyway, like I was saying.
Yeah.
I think the fact that they're not even giving this match to WrestleMania, they're not even giving this feud, you know, time to even gestate. They're just giving it to us within the next 3 weeks at Fastlane. Which, can we get to the road to WrestleMania metaphors? Can we make the road to WrestleMania metaphors any more obvious with this one, people? But okay.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like the fact that they're not even give this feud WrestleMania, you know, spotlight. It shows that they maybe.
Well, because you know, at that point, if they did do it at WrestleMania, it would be Cena wins, LOL. So what I would hope they're doing is they're gonna, you know, Rusev is gonna beat Cena, but God forbid they can have him do it at WrestleMania.
Yes.
But then again, I really have no faith.
I would like to see maybe like a confrontation between the two of them, but like Rusev. John Cena wins, LOL, but by disqualification because of something Rusev does, or you know, Lana causes some sort of distraction that then sets up this big gimmicky kind of match.
There's an amazing Austin Powers quote that sums up what the fans want as opposed to what actually happened in WWE, which is, well, I want a solid gold toilet puzzle, but it's just not on the cards.
But it's just not on the cards. Yes, exactly. I use that quote all the time.
So, well, what do we look for?
Be finally happening in California. I do like the fact, by the way, I popped so huge last night when Triple H did his promo on Sting in the ring the other day, and he goes, "The man called Sting," and I went, "Man called Sting."
He does this. He does that.
Because he does this. He did this and he did that in the promo, and it definitely is gonna making that obvious. So we know 2 matches that are definitely gonna happen. So those 2 things are happening. What else is gonna happen?
That's what I can tell you now. That's my go-to match right now.
WWE also had a snow day where they ended up cutting loads of promos instead. As Brandon talked about, Paul Heyman made Roman Reigns look strong.
Paul Heyman, put it this way, someone had to come in and do damage control after, Philadelphia nearly booed him and The Rock out of the building. If anyone there was a certain Hall of Famer, it's The Rock. That's when we knew that this was in trouble. But Paul Heyman did the best he could to salvage what he could, what there could be salvaged out of Roman Reigns, out of the Royal Rumble, and he made people forget about any of the problems. At least made me forget any of the doubts that I maybe had about Roman Reigns going into it. Because, like I said, I wasn't angry that he won, but I was just like, okay, that's what they're doing. Let's see what they're doing. Let's see where this goes. I was upset. I was shocked at the level of displeasure that people were displaying. Like, yeah, all right, they could be, angry, but at some point in time, it's really just disrespectful to the guys.
Can you say that it makes the future uncertain? But isn't that what ultimately makes it exciting?
Yes. Well, I think the future is certain. The certainty that it's going to be Roman Reigns winning
the fact that
the WWE title from Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, I'm talking about fan reaction to it, though. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Well,
I think the fans will come around. I think we're going to get a good match out of Brocco and Roman.
Yeah.
Now, I think. That's what I think. I think we're going to get an interesting build, but I think Heyman definitely is going to have to be central to that. That is fucking certain.
Now let's, going on from that, let's do our kayfabe news article of the week. This article is sponsored by kayfabenews.com. And the one I was looking at, which was one that Nick loves, which is furious over Royal Rumble outcome, God cancels Raw. God, the omnipotent creator of heavens and earth, was reportedly so upset over the outcome of last night's Royal Rumble event that he clobbered the northeastern state of America with a snowstorm of biblical proportions, forcing the cancellation of tonight's Monday Night Raw. Roman Reigns, seriously?
Like there's technically one man who still outranks Vince.
Yeah, Roman Reigns, seriously? God bellowed at his glimmering celestial throne last night. His reverberating throughout the entire universe. Even The Rock can't get this guy over. Although typically an all-loving and forgiving deity, God has a short temper when it comes to shoddy booking of professional wrestling. Especially since the time he and Shawn Michaels lost a tag team match to the McMahons. I gave the humans free will, and this is what they come up with, regards God, while Roman Reigns celebrates the unpopular victory. So we get Lesnar versus Reigns at Mania. I'm cancelling my subscription to the WWE Network, he says. Earlier today, God instructed his earthly representative, Mordecai, to return to the WWE and restore some semblance of decency. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is your kayfabe news article of the week. Sponsored by kayfabenews.com, where wrestling's still real to us.
I'm with God on this one. Just saying.
Brandon, that was your cue.
I muted my microphone. Sorry, do it again. I was on.
This article was sponsored by kayfabewrestlingnews.com, where wrestling's still real to us.
Damn it!
There you go.
So I love a good Mordecai reference on the show. Anytime we get a Mordecai reference on the show,
Bring back Mordecai.
That. Yep. Yeah, I'd like to see. Can you imagine the reaction that people got if Mordecai was a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble in the future? Like, first of all, people would be like, "What?" And then 12 people would just start laughing, and it would be me, Burhan, and 10 other people probably.
Yeah, we'll be marking out. We'll just be like, "Oh my god."
Yo, Mordecai.
Mordecai. So awesome. But
Mordecai.
Moving on from that, Impact this week, I haven't watched it yet, so I'll give you guys a play-by-play next week in terms of that. TNA's been.
I mean,
sticking...
hey, if any time, put it this way, we could take from TNA is this, or Impact Wrestling is this. If any time the iron was hot to strike while the WWE was looking a little vulnerable to get some fans on there, now is the time. Don't fuck it up now. Now is your chance to be a realistic TV alternative or a realistic, not really competitor, but viable product.
Well, they are.
People
they
can
are
finally.
They do seem viable. They do.
They do seem like a viable,
Somewhere
at
else
least
to
a
go.
a watchable, exactly, a watchable product. As long as they continue to be a watchable product, they should do fine for themselves.
Yes.
Don't fuck this up, TNA.
And you know
this
what?
is
Their
your
ratings,
one chance.
They have shown a ratings increase from 425,000 views to 560,000 views to 620,000 views. So the company seems to be gaining quite a following on Destination America.
So they're doing something right then.
Yeah. So
Yep.
the way that I see it is good on you. Kudos to you. There was news about Alberto Del Patreon basically coming in, as we know, to Ring of Honor. Said that he did have a discussion with TNA, but feels like careers go there to die. Going on from that, that's pretty much it, really. I haven't done my Ask Him yet, so I might as well do Ask Him. So, here is...
Vamp for time while I look for an Iron Sheik tweet of the week and we can get the fuck out of here.
Exactly.
This could be like,
well,
this could be a record...
People.
This could
Nothing
be a
else.
record... This could be a record fast show for us.
Well,
too,
nothing
by
much
the
has
way.
been happening this week, which is kind of
I know.
sad.
I mean, we it's what we did. We spent the entire episode talking about the relevant topic of wrestling news right now. Of wrestling news right now is the validity of Roman Reigns as the man.
I also think the fact that it's been a quiet week comes down to the fact that people don't piss God off. He doesn't like it.
Well, look,
Yeah.
it's just maybe next time WWE will be a little bit more, planning better with their schedules. Like, okay, maybe we're not gonna try and host shows in the Northeast in mid-January.
And of all people,
I think they should have done what they do in hockey once a year, which is they should have an outdoor match in the middle of winter.
Well,
in the snow.
I mean, okay, well, all right, Dave, you get out there in spandex underwear and try and go out there and perform. Okay.
Well,
okay.
You want to pay me
Middle of summer would be a better opportunity
okay.
to do that.
The Ask Him this week. Dolph Ziggler had a few identities in his time in the WWE. Can you name them all? So, answers in the postcard. I'm going to put it on my Facebook timeline, put it in our Wrestle Revolution group, because we've grown in members. We've now gone over 60 members now. One of the most popular forums out there. We are growing by the numbers, and thanks to Chris Jester as well for helping us out with that.
Basically just adding all his friends.
Yeah. So make sure you go to facebook.com/groups/Wrestle Revolution. Great group.
It's
what identities did Dolph Ziggler occupy during his time in the WWE?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a very good one.
If you get it right,
because there's a lot of them.
Would you, if you got it right, would you be cheering?
I would cheer. I would do a specific type of cheer too if I got it.
I would boo and boycott because
Nikki!
You gave it away though.
No, I didn't. I was coughing. What are you talking about?
A little bit there. You gave it a little bit.
By the way, I thought Mizdow was gonna turn on Miz in the Royal Rumble when he came out.
I thought that would have been a great opportunity to do so. I mean, again, you have two people that have legitimate beefs, by the way, in the Royal Rumble, is Mizdow and Curtis Axel.
Yes, the one true winner of the Royal Rumble. I agree with you on that one, Brandon. Brandon, you there?
Has been shady because they're. What did I do to myself?
I think you muted yourself.
I did not mute myself. Because you could clearly hear me.
Probably the internet dropped out.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you were saying.
I just dropped out. No, I think that there was, there are possibly multiple Royal Rumbles. This is potentially the most controversial Royal Rumble of all times. I would so say, and I have an Iron Sheik tweeted ready to go.
Okay.
Awesome.
So if you're ready to go there, I almost wanted to go to this picture of Iron Sheik and Riff Raff, who has apparently gained up to 240 pounds of pure muscle by cutting out cocaine and Molly from his life. Yeah, I'm sure that's the only thing he's cut out from his.
He's gained 3 of me.
Yeah, I'm sure that's entirely natural. I'm sure that's entirely natural.
Who, Iron Sheik?
Riff Raff. No, Riff Raff, who's put on up to 240 pounds of muscle now to get ready to train to become a professional wrestler. So we might actually see Riff Raff in the WWE. So here's my. You ready for this? You ready for my Iron Sheik tweet of the week? It's a really simple one. It's eat, sleep, cold beer, beat the fuck out of you, repeat. Eat, sleep, cold beer, beat the fuck out of you, repeat. That, ladies and gentlemen, is your Iron Sheik tweet of the week.
I think that's bullshit.
I think if there's any, I think if I could get to put that on a T-shirt, I would put that on the T-shirt. Eat, sleep, cold beer, beat the fuck out of you, repeat.
I would say,
as long as we can have Nick's statement on the back. Hashtag Vince go home. Sorry.
Oh man.
Yeah. That's a T-shirt idea in and of itself.
So that's it. That's probably the shortest. This is probably the shortest episode of Slamcast in the history of Slamcast. I am fucking proud of every single one of you, gentlemen.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, you can find myself, of course, at youtube.com/TheNerdGenius. Another Rather British review is coming. I'm going to be doing Bayonetta this week because I've been roped into directing a movie. But I am nearly at the finishing edits of our 2K15 review, so that'll be coming next week instead, so I'll slot it in. I'm trying to do one Rather British review a week on top of everything else. And you could also find me on Maker Studios, of course, as well. DailyMotion.com NerdGenius, YouTube.com/TheNerdGenius, Retro Island Radio. I'm with Dave Wade on Burhan and the Boy every Wednesday, 8 PM EST. I'm with these lovely gentlemen on Slamcast every Friday, 8 PM EST. Saturdays,
Can I just blatantly ask these good gentlemen, since Burhan and the Boy this week was so much fun, would either one of you, or preferably both of you, or even on the same show, like to be a guest on Burhan and the Boy?
We'll see.
I'd love to.
We'll see what I'm doing.
But
Nick, I appreciate your enthusiasm. Brandon?
It's I like my freedom,
He does. That's why no woman can hold him down.
Exactly. Don't even get me started on women right now, please.
You could also find me on the Untitled Movie Show every Sunday, 8 PM EST as well. All these shows on the Retro Island Network. Make sure you check that out. I'm going to be at Play Blackpool. There is an upcoming announcement about Silent Hill Genesis coming up. Hopefully it will be involving Play Blackpool. I'm not going to go into details. I'll find that out once it's been confirmed. If it's been confirmed, you shall see. And also, ladies and gents, you can find all these content and more on nerdgenius.com, www.nerdgenius.com. Now, Mr. Dave Wade, where can we find you?
If you say my name 10 times in front of your bathroom mirror, it will automatically link you to my channel. Sorry.
I thought it would a jar
no,
of Marmite
Dave Wade will appear with a jar of Marmite in front of you. I did.
Yeah.
By the way, I saw a jar of Marmite in the Mexican grocery store in my local.
And yet you didn't buy it in the Mexican grocery store?
Well, okay, it's a grocery store that sells.
Please don't tell me that was like some sort of dodgy knockoff where they spelled Marmite with 2 A's.
No, Marmite.
It's legit Marmite.
Buy it. You should try it.
No.
I still got to do the chicken bovril challenge.
We'll see. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, anyway, you can find me on YouTube, Lawn Boys Post 1975 or Candyman or something like that, and I'm on Facebook is Lawn Boys space Post. Because it turned out you don't have to use your real name. Amazing. So everyone from work doesn't even know I'm on Facebook. Wonderful. And I'm currently playing lots of Wii U games and Wii games. And I'm going to go back to wrestling because, well, I have 25 unlisted wrestling videos I should probably make live at some point. But there we go. Job done, innit? It's a good one. Chin chin, Mary Poppins.
Nick, where can we find you?
Alright, you can find me on YouTube at the Gaming Pegasus 187. You can find me on Twitter at Gaming Pegasus 187. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on the Wii U. You can find me on Supercard. You can find me on Xbox Live at Pegasus 187. Find me on PSN at The Extreme Enigma.
Boo.
And Facebook. Yeah, I think I said Facebook. I'm losing track. I'm plugging too much shit. But yeah, I'm actually playing a lot of Final Fantasy X on the
If you
Vita.
click your heels 3 times and say there's no place like Nick.
But that's the problem, Nick. When you have diarrhea, that's what happens. You're plugging shit.
Ugh.
But I'm Char. Yeah, and Mr. Host of Hosts, take us away.
Alrighty then. Like I said, if you like this show, you like everything I do, you can check me out on the Twitter, @BrandonAllHope. You can find all my random musings and all that other kind of shit. Yeah, that's basically it, man. So, support independent wrestling. Yeah, I tell you I'll do this every week. You fucking do it. Raw Alternative was awesome this week. You saw Slamtasia 5. You saw my man Bill Carr and Dan Barry capture the ISW Tag Team Championship of the World, or Tag Team Championship, over those dreaded Foo Fighters. Food Fighters. So again, support independent wrestling. It's out there. So again, for Dave Wade, for Nick Horacek, for Michael Burhan, I'm Brandon Liggan saying good night. Good night. Go forth and spread beauty and light. Peace, love, and happiness to all. Meow.
This show is sponsored by God, and the amazing ability he has to change weather when he doesn't like something. If God doesn't like Dexter, he gives Michael C. Hall cancer. If God does not like Breaking Bad, he kills off the main character in Godzilla. Yes, God, don't piss him off. This show is also sponsored by God's tag team match with Shawn Michaels, where he didn't have to lift a finger when Shawn was being brutally beaten by Vincent K. McMahon and Shane McMahon. It was brutal, and it was horrendous. Yes, God and Shawn Michaels, the ultimate tag team, never to be crowned tag team champions. This show is also sponsored by Mae Young's ability to give birth to hands. If you make sure you impregnate her, she will give you a hand. And probably sick boy, who knows? And this show is also sponsored by Brandon Liggan's Sex Life, which is just
non-existent.
Non-existent. Poor guy.
Non-existent, apparently.
Well, you can always Skype Sunny. I heard she's interested.
Nah, I'm good. I'm good on
Just
that.
give a bit of crap.
Prefer not to pay for it, man. Prefer not to pay for it.